Well, when I was going to ask someone if they had a lot of Tiki Bobs in their collection, I was expecting you'd have a little bit more than this.
Yeah, I'm sorry I underwhelmed you.
Yeah.
So, to my underwhelming Tiki Bob collection.
Yeah, man, this ain't gonna work.
Okay, I'll get more.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, this is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki with Ray. And on this episode of Tiki Mugs with Ray, we are going to talk about probably the most iconic Tiki mug there is, the Tiki Bob. And my good friend here, Allred, is going to lead us through his journey of his Tiki Bob mug collection.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to talk about Tiki mugs,
Yeah.
as I've kind of semi-lost my mind over them.
Yeah, I mean, even with the
Just
Tiki,
a little.
Yeah, and even like with the Tiki Bob mugs, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like, what can I say? So this is essentially the quintessential Tiki Bob mug.
Yep.
Now, from what I understand, the first place was in San Francisco.
Okay.
Tiki Bob's, actually. And this was the mug that you'd be able to buy from the restaurant. I mean, back then they were souvenirs and stuff like that.
Right.
And then on the side it would actually say, or in the back it would say where it was from. And then that's where this mug originally came from.
Right.
But then I guess what happened was a lot of the manufacturers or other restaurants started like, I don't want to say they copied the mug, but I think what it was is there was the manufacturer who made the mug.
Right. You could get your
And
location
then you'd
printed.
be able to get your stamp on it, because this is actually Bali High in New Orleans.
Yep.
And it's
Which
not
is still a pretty old mug.
Yeah. I mean, this
Just
is
not an original.
but this is the exact same mug.
Yes.
Now here's the interesting thing. There's a place that used to be in Ohio, the Kahiki, and there was a mug that you can get from the Kahiki, right?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is like you can actually get that mug just as itself.
Okay.
Like I have a couple mugs that are the same exact mug as the Kahiki, but it just doesn't say Kahiki on it. So I think how it was is back then you'd have manufacturers who made mugs,
Right.
and then someone could be like, all right, well put our name on it and call it good. And I think that's how you started to see other Tiki mugs that were exactly the same as the Tiki Bob,
Right.
but then those from somewhere else. But your collection is based off of a lot of other variations on the Tiki Bob, but it's more of like an homage
Yes. Yeah.
to the thing. Now, obviously, none of these creators, none of these would be at a restaurant or a tiki bar that you'd buy and take home. These are just made from like tiki mug makers
Yes.
that they decided to make them. So
Yeah, I think the only one I've seen, and I can't remember which bar it was, I've seen this one, which was the Party Bob by Monk Tiki. And this is one of their Monk Tiki's, I guess they're produced mugs versus their limited series mugs. So they have
Monk Tiki imports.
Yeah, they do. So the import side of it.
That's the one where you can buy.
I'll call them the mass-produced side of that. So
Yes.
I've actually seen some of these in Tiki Bar or two, where you could buy it along with a drink or separate from a drink.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I've ever seen in the Tiki Bob.
But speaking of Monk Tiki, though, you have
Yes.
a couple other ones.
I do. Like these are one of my favorites. This is a zombie hand holding a Tiki Bob.
Now, where did they come up with that idea? Or
I do not know, but I love it. And so I've had drinks out of both of these, and you just kind of it's a regular mug that I'm assuming is glazed onto the zombie hand.
And they don't come apart, right?
They do not come apart unless you break it apart.
No, and you don't.
Which isn't
want
going to
to
happen. And then you just put your straw.
And I think the
drink
interesting
out of
thing,
that
can I see that?
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it is like they tried to make the mug almost, it's pretty close to like what the original Tiki mug would be.
Yeah.
But then they kind of.
And they made it, I think, it looks a little smaller maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
But I mean, it probably has to be, because, I mean, and it's a fairly precarious balance, but it does balance. And then this is their limited edition, and then this was the super limited edition version where they did 25 of those.
Yeah, what else do you have here? What's the story with this atomic Bob?
Yeah, that's from MP Ceramics, and it also came with this little tiny cute guy like right here, which is it's just really awesome.
No, wait, what's this? Is this?
It just goes with it. I'm assuming you could use it as a shot glass. See, it's empty on the inside. But I just thought it was really cool. They did it in the same glaze set. And this is their Atomic Bob, and they have a variety of glaze variations that they've released around this one. And they usually do, I think, about 25 of each of the different glazes, or less, from what I've seen. And then this one is also the original Bob. It's the square Bob, the real square Bob. And I want to say, I actually picked that up from Wendy. And I just thought it was really cool. And there's a story behind it. Now I can't remember what it was. So I'm going to have to ask her again to share the story with me. But it was pretty funny when she was telling it to me. And then... So right off the bat, people are just going off the rails on what the Tiki design is, the Tiki Bob design is. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is, kind of doing homage to that iconic...
why do you think it is iconic?
I just think it was just very early on. It was a very early on recognized, Tiki mug that... had, and again, just like you said, it started in one place and then the manufacturer made it for, other tiki bars. And so pretty soon that became kind of an iconic, name, the Tiki Bob, as far as that mug style. And, from a perspective of, I guess, the history of tiki mugs, it would make sense that different makers have given a variety of homage to the Tiki Bob. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, this is just a few of what's out there. There's a lot out there.
Well, one thing I know now I'm thinking about it, there is other Tiki mugs that are definitely more in line with the actual Tiki gods from the Polynesia, like Ku and Pele. And those look more like a traditional... Yes. Like an actual carving of what those would be.
And I wonder if it was just more accessible. I mean, I don't know the history behind it around why. I just noticed that there were a lot of different variations coming out, and I like that the creative side of that. Made it fun. And there's a lot of differences, like this one right here, which is, it looks like a little lunchbox. What the hell is that? That is a Wendy Savola mug. It was done in 2011 for the Sacramento Bar Crawl.
This is a, what?
Yeah. And so, again, it's just like, I think you'd need a harness to hold it around, or it was a sobriety test because it's so big.
How do you, does it open up or you just...
Yeah, you just pour it in there and drink it out of there. I think out of a big, long, sippy straw. But it's,
Speaking of our good friend Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how you doing?
Hi, Wendy.
So, the biggest Tiki Bob mug collection I've ever seen was actually Wendy's at her house. And she has gone on to make several different variations of the Tiki Bob. Do you have a couple of hers?
Of course, yeah. I've got...
Where do we begin, right?
Where do we begin? Well, we could begin with the Suffering Bob.
Suffering Bob.
Yeah, by Wendy Savola.
Okay.
And which I think is it's a variation. It's a take on the Suffering Bastard, which I think is pretty funny. And then this is one of the ones that she had the Maori different tattooing on the face, which I love. Wow. This.
Can I see that?
Yeah, and she made a set of those.
That is kick-ass.
She made a set of those, and each one of the mugs has different tattooing. So the detail's amazing on these. Those are some I have packed away.
And what's crazy? I actually, when I was down to visit Wendy, she was making a Tiki Bob version of there's a metal band called Merciful Fate, and the lead singer of this band is called King Diamond. And the guy, literally has, he has his face painted white, almost in black, kind of like Kisses. And she actually made a King Diamond Tiki Bob mug.
And did it have, so this is one as an example that's similar to that, except instead of the tattooing being on the, kind of as an indention, the tattooing is raised. Oh, and then it's got a different glaze on it around the face. And it's...
this is a beautiful mug.
Yeah.
Wendy Savola, number one.
One of one.
Oh, wow.
It was just the one of that particular type that she did.
Unbelievable.
And then, we've got a couple of others. This one, I'm trying to remember if this one had the name on it. It was just, but again, it's just another Tiki mug or Tiki Bob variation on the face, but also the structure around it was neat, which I thought was really cool.
And here's the cool thing, I'll tell you what. I mean, the thing about, the traditional Tiki Bob, it feels good in your hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a vessel to drink out of.
Yeah. And especially these this size, one of the things I like about Wendy and the ceramic she makes, they're actually the wall is really thick. So if you pick up different kinds of mugs, you get a different feel for how sturdy the mug is.
Oh yeah.
And like if you drink out of her bigger mugs, I mean, you almost do have to have a small harness to hold it because they're really, I mean, they'll last forever. You know.
Yeah.
But these would also, and they're just the perfect way to fit in your hand, and they're nice, and the weight's nice.
What's the story?
This one is Shriner
next?
Bob.
Shriner Bob.
Yeah, Tiki Bob Shriner. Yeah. Which is again awesome. I love that. And there's
weight to this mug.
Yeah, and there seems to be a crossover between and this is like another one of her like one-offs. And so, but there's that whole crossover between like the Shriner hats and Tiki stuff. And so
there you go. If anyone's asking a question, so what's the connection between the Fez and Tiki? Well, maybe this answers the question.
There you go. Yeah.
What's the story with this guy with the horns?
This is Viking Bob.
Viking Bob.
Yeah. Oh, she actually wrote that on the bottom, Viking Bob.
Oh my God. Is that so? There's a Wendy's.
There's one on Wendy's. Yeah, these are all Wendy's.
Oh wow.
And then, so he's got a little hat that comes off, so you can pour your drink in it. And he's got a little ponytail coming off the back of him, and he's got his double-headed axe, and he looks very fierce.
Oh, this is kick-ass.
He definitely needs a drink.
It looks like it'd be the lead singer of some Danish metal band.
Exactly.
So, what's the story with this long, tall guy?
Let's see. So these two are Bosco.
Bosco.
Yeah, and
so Bosco made a Tiki Bob.
Yeah. So this one I picked up.
Now, is that supposed to be Beach Bum? I think so.
Yeah.
It's the beach.
Yeah, and so like Beach Bum.
There's only one guy I know that has those glasses and has that hat.
Yep. So Beach Bum Bob.
Beach Bum Bob.
Yeah. And then I actually picked up this one from Wendy's. So, I'm going to bang these together.
Oh, that's kick-ass,
I can't remember. I think this one was a glaze test, but I'm not 100% sure. But I just thought it was beautifully done.
Oh
and
my God,
again, I've never seen anything quite kind of elongated like that, so I thought it was pretty cool.
So yeah, it is.
And I love the glaze on it. So yeah. And that's kind of what I end up finding. I look at something and I like either the design or the way it sits or the glazing or the detail work. These two are from Boo Tiki.
Who?
Boo Tiki.
Boo Tiki?
Boo. B-O-O.
What's the story with Boo Tiki?
I don't know the story about Boo Tiki other than that she did a variety of Bobs. These are two of them. That one is...
it's like a Dracula.
It is a Dracula Bob, and I can't remember which one this was.
Boo Tiki.
Yeah.
Jeff. Winhickle.
Yep. And I don't know.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun, and they're cute, and so, yep.
The cool thing is right there.
Yep.
You have your finger underneath the guy's nose.
So you know where to hold, yeah. Grab hold and hang on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this last one is from Tiki Diablo.
Oh wow!
And so it looks like it's carved into a tree, and it's got a bunch of embellishments around the trunk and the bark and stuff. So it's really well done. Comes with this little drum that sits out in front, has a little light in it, which I turned on.
Dude, and I'll tell you what. I mean, it's like some of these are truly pieces of art.
Oh yeah.
And
actually, they all are, really.
Yeah, well, they all are. But
there's so much distinction, and I love the way that people have embellished on the idea.
We're getting back to the original.
Yeah.
The original Bob. I mean, I'll tell you what. Like, you gave this to me. Eric gave me this mug, and thank you.
You're welcome.
And like I have it on. I have a shelf where I have my mugs and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what. This Bob stands out.
Yeah.
Like when I look at my shelf.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, even when you see someone who's done a variation on it, you can spot it almost immediately. It's just, again, it's kind of got that iconic. It's fairly unique looking, and it's pretty simple, right? The design is pretty straightforward and simple, and it's really neat to see other people have taken all these different perspectives on it and embellished it and, made it even a broader perspective. So,
and another thing, too, is it's like giving an homage to, like, the first wave of Tiki.
Yeah.
And an homage to this, I'll tell you what, I've never been to a Tiki Bob's. And I wish I could have, but I think those places were like long gone. But I mean, it's nice to have a little piece of that place.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to be said about like just the fact that all these different mug makers are making their own Tiki Bob version of their mug.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
And the collection of variation is significant. I mean, I don't actually know how many different kinds there are, but I think this is just a taste of. There's probably 10 times this many designs and variations on it. Not even counting the glaze variation. So that's what makes it cool.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, thank you for coming on the show. Aloha, mahalo, and good night.
Cheers.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Tiki Bob's with Ray. Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.